Hi, my name is Akshit and I work as a developer relations engineer at Maxim AI. In this video, I'll be showing you how to work with workflows in Maxim for testing and simulation purposes. So first of all, go to the workflow section from the left hand side menu and create a workflow. So your agent should be deployed. So my agent is a travel agent, so I'll call it as a travel agent. Let's give it a description. Agent to help with travel related queries. And let's click on create. As soon as you do that, you get an interface similar to Postman, where you can put your URL, you can make a get, post, put, patch, delete calls. You can provide the parameters, a body, in the format which is expected by your agent server. And similar to any API client, you get a pre-script, which you can run on your request body, and a post script, which you can run on your response. In Maxim workflow, you also get a pre-simulation and post-simulation, as the name defines, and as this line says, add any processing required to set up the workflow before triggering a multi-turn interaction. And post simulation means you can add any post processing required for teardown after the entire simulation session is complete. Now let me write down the URL of my agent. So this is a flight booking agent which is deployed on Vercel. And this is the API to get inference from my agent. I'll define the structure of my body, which does not look like this. So I'll remove this. And my server expects the body in this format. So there will be messages list with an object which looks like this. We have the role, which will be user, and we have the content. And the content is going to be dynamic, which is coming from here, the message input box. So I'll say input as a variable. After messages, my server also expects a model ID, and I want to use GPT-4o. Similarly, if your agent server requires a parameter, you can define over here. And also you can maintain your variables in this section. From the settings section, you can have the workflow timeout. I want to go ahead with the default value, which is 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes. Maximum concurrency of 10. That means 10 concurrent requests can be made. Maximum retries, I want to keep it 3. Before I try out with the message, my agent server also expects a unique ID for the simulation. So for that, I make a variable of the ID. The user will not be putting that ID. We have to generate that ID. And that unique ID can be generated on the basis of the date time. So I can go to the scripts and I can replace this pre-script with another function, which is this. So what is happening in this function is I'm taking the request, I'm finding the current timestamp, okay, and I'm converting that into an ISO datetime string. And then I'm fetching the data, request.data. If it is present, then I'm just parsing it as JSON. So JSON.parse request.data. And then I'm also adding another variable with the key ID, and I'm providing it a value simulation dash the timestamp. So this will always be unique, and my request.data will be data. So this is how, using prescript, I modified my request and added another field into it, which is a dynamic field called ID. Now let's just save it and let's write a message over here. First of all, let's just write hey and let's click on send. So as soon as I sent hey, I got an error, 401, error unauthorized. So basically this server is protected by very weak authentication for now. But as you have got the headers, you can protect your server with bearer tokens, API keys, or any other authentication method that you want. But currently for our server, we have protected it with a key value pair with the key called X Maxim token and a value. As I told, this is up to you. If you want to have a bearer token or API key, you can provide it. It totally depends on how secure you want to keep your server. Let's just save the workflow and let's again say hey. So over here you can see that I'm getting my message also and the response also from the assistant. And as you can see, the response is good. Hello, how can I assist you today? Are you looking to book a flight, search for flight options, or need help with something else related to air travel? So the response is really good from the assistant, but I'm only interested in seeing this response. That means I can add a post script to fetch the content from the last message from this messages list. Okay, let's do that. So instead of returning the response.data, that is returning all the messages, I'm going to return this. So basically I'll be returning messages, response.data.messages at length -1. That means I'll be fetching the last message from my response, and then I'll be providing that message wrapped up as an object with the key messages. So let's try to run it again. So as soon as I sent hey, I can see my message, role user, content hey, and in response to that, my assistant has sent a response with role assistant and content Hello, how can I assist you today? Are you looking to book a flight? Now, as you can see, I am not getting any data that I don't want to see, because in the scripts I have mentioned that only return me the message instead of showing me the model ID or the tokens consumed and all of that data. So this is good. Okay, so now let's learn how to simulate this agent, because you might not be able to test this agent end to end properly manually. So let's click on this test and let's click on simulated session. Dataset, I'll choose my dataset which I have created for travel agent simulation dataset, and user persona, frustrated user in a rush. So you can set the user persona as per your use case and the requirement, and this is an optional field. Response fields to use for simulation. So basically this is an important field because in your dataset you will have an input and the expected output, and you will need the generated output, right? So this field, the content that we are going to get from the assistant back, will be used as the generated output, and it will be compared with the expected output. So messages.0.content. In the advanced settings, you can modify the maximum number of turns, which is an optional field. Reference tools. If your agent requires some tools, you can provide that. This we have already seen in the previous videos, how to work with tools in Maxim. Now at the bottom, you can select the evaluators. And because this is a travel related agent, a lot of private information will be shared, like your social identity number or your personal details. So yes, I want to evaluate it on PII detection, which is personally identifiable information evaluator. Let's also select the agent trajectory evaluator. I want to work with these two evaluators. Now let's click on trigger test run. So in my dataset, I only had 4 scenarios, as you can see, and I have the expected steps. Now for all of these 4 inputs, I want to measure my latency, agent trajectory, PII detection, and the evaluation cost. Let's see what we get. Though we already have a detailed video on agent simulation and evaluation, you can check that video also. So the simulation report is ready, and as you can see, both of my evaluations have failed. It could not pass the agent trajectory evaluator and also the PI detection evaluator. And I can see the evaluation cost for every input. Now let's just open one of the inputs, and you can see the whole simulation that has happened, the conversation between the user and the assistant. And so this is the significance of adding your agent to workflow and then simulating it, because if you decide to do it manually, then this is a very time taking process, and you might not be able to find out all the possible areas of failure. You can check the detailed evaluation reasoning of failing this run over here. In the messages, you can read the conversation that happened between the user and the assistant. So first of all, user said, hey, I need to book an economy flight on 20th April. And then in response to that, the agent said, let's proceed with booking your economy flight. And it might have asked for some personal details. And like this, the conversation has happened between these two users. As we saw in the previous video, you can rerun this test. You can share this report. You can provide more evaluators. You can toggle the columns, and you can filter this report on the basis of some keywords. We have already seen this in the previous video. I would highly recommend you to check out that video for understanding how simulations work. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you want to get started with Maxim, check out the link in the description, or to quickly get started, you can log on to evals.new. Till the next video, all the best for your AI journey.